Hello, everyone. It's Friday, so that means it's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you. For those of you that are new to what we do, we welcome you. And for those of you that have been watching us and giving input, we're very, very thankful for your input. Like, we really do appreciate it. Nadeem, how's it going, sir?
Oh, going pretty good. And sorry, I haven't been able to make last few calls. Just been a little under the weather. Started off
Yeah.
with allergies and it. I don't know. Maybe it's as I get older, it's getting harder for me to fight the allergies off or something.
Yeah, I told you I had I think I had a cold or whatever the heck it was, and that was almost 2 weeks ago, and I'm still blowing my nose full of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something else. But I wanted to get your input on something. So our last couple of videos has elicited some very strong responses in that people are now looking like, whoa, uh, I need to be a little bit more conscientious as far as security is concerned, especially with a lot of what's been going on, unfortunately, in the Ukraine, and now the state of affairs of the world and all of that, and we talked about the number of hackings or attempted hackings that have skyrocketed since that. We had someone, and Nadeem was going to talk about this, that now on a personal level, people are like, well, let me check my accounts and let me make sure everything's okay. Nadine, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. As far as if IT companies out there, well, not all of them, but well, we've been changing our tool set over the years, or it's been our new CyberX component has been in development for over a year now, and we just released it. We deployed it. I think last time I checked, we had about 487, I believe, endpoints on there. And there's a couple of things that happen. So you cannot be in IT and not have a security component of your business. Those days are gone. It's almost like, remember in the old days when there used to be shade tree mechanics? Now there is no such thing as a shade tree mechanic. And that's where IT is. There are no shade tree IT people anymore. You have to have your stack mature. If it's not mature, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
So some of the things that came out, out of our deployment over the last month or so is, out of those 487 endpoints that we deployed, 3 Windows workstations showed they were loading malicious script that nobody knew about. There was anti-malware, antivirus, all these things on that machine, but the behavioral analytics is what caught it. And the intrusion prevention, fortunately, this customer had intrusion prevention system. So the intrusion prevention system was already blocking the script from loading. Basically, the script talks to a command center, and the command center sends it instructions on what to do. So it was waiting for those instructions, but our intrusion prevention system was blocking those instructions from coming in. So that's what multiple layers of security is all about. Even if one layer is not there, the other layer catches it. So then when we deployed CyberX, it picked up the malicious script and it flagged it. We removed it, and it's been cleaned since. And then, so along with that, the CyberX component has what we call a honeypot. So what we do is when we deploy the product on a machine, it creates some files. They look like Excel files and Word files, and these are just to attract the scripts that attack these type of files. For example, ransomware scripts love Excel files, right? So we want to have a few of the honeypot Excel files in there to see if we attract any flies. And if we do, then we take action before the customer data gets impacted, right? So we noticed that there were, for one of our customers, there were a few entities from outside the US trying to log in using one of these honeypot accounts. And we know that these were honeypot accounts. We know it couldn't have been a legit user trying to log in. So we knew that it was some bad guy trying to log in using one of those accounts.
Yeah.
It red flagged it, caught it, blocked it, and then we remediated. So it's been, I mean, it's it almost feels like in the past, before this was deployed, we were almost like ostriches with our heads in the sand. And if we don't see it, it can't do anything. You know, that's, but now that we see these things happening in real time, it's like, whoa, okay. Now the honeypot on that login attempt, that was actually I would call it a deployment issue, where the infrastructure for that customer was not deployed correctly. You know, like when we set up servers, we always set up a VPN. We never allow a server to be sitting on the public IP. And in this case, it was sitting on the public IP. And so we alerted, you know, their IT guys and told them, hey, you need to secure this server because we are detecting these attacks now. We need to do something here right away. So that's been working out great. So, you know, along with that, what you mentioned, so I was talking to the VP of it's a large nationwide insurance company, and it's a public company. And I was talking to the VP over there, and you know, she watches these videos, right? And I was calling her on something else, but she's, you know, kind of started talking about this. Is like, hey, Nadeem, you know, I love the videos that you send out, and people don't realize how bad the situation is, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And she says that it gave her a lot of insight into what's happening, and she changed her behavior because of it. And I was like, what do you mean you changed your behavior because of it? Well, she said she exports her bank account information, the statement, every week. So every week she exports it out. She knows what transactions are there, how much money is there, because if a bank gets hacked, the bank's insurance does not cover cybercrime, right? Federally, banks are not covered for cybercrime. So in that case, you're at the mercy of your bank if they want to, you know, help you out or not. Now, in my experience, every time the banks have kind of helped their customers out, right? It only makes sense. However, she said if multiple banks get hit by an attack, and there's not going to be enough resources to go around to remediate. So I want to be able to take my statement and say, no, last week I had this much money and now I have zero. Give me my money back. Now, hand in hand in that, you know, the president, same company, the president keeps all his passwords in one password manager. And he doesn't manage it himself. He has somebody else managing it for him. But she had a nice heart-to-heart with the president, telling him that he needs to separate them out and he needs to not use one application to manage everything's passwords, because that's one place for the bad guys to break into. And once they break in, you're done. You know, that goose is going to be cooked. So I'm glad that people are watching and people are, you know, getting some useful information out of these videos. And I'm sorry, I've been a little sick last few days, you know, just allergy stuff. So we haven't made a video since, you know, we didn't make one last Friday.
Right.
And I didn't make any during the week. So normally I push out, you know, 1 or 2 videos a week, but you know, this week I haven't been able to. Typically I like to do like, you know, once every other day, you know, kind of videos. So that's what's happening now. You were talking about an interesting fact that was on our LinkedIn page, something about 27% companies get, what was that about?
So it was really interesting to find out that 27% of organizations have not reviewed and updated their data breach response plan since they were even put in place.
Oh,
And I know one thing that you had been shouting from the rooftops is to have a data breach response plan, but it was one thing to have one, it's one thing to make sure that it's up to date
It's up
That's
to that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah,
should review it on a cadence. It's like business planning. It's like keeping track of your business. You keep your numbers. You review your numbers on a cadence, right? Every day, every week, every month. However you do it, you have to review these plans on a cadence. Uh, you know, at least a month, a quarter, whatever your cadence is. A lot of times we see people, they'll make these plans and then they put them in a drawer somewhere and then they're gone. They don't.
yep,
You ask them, hey, where's your plan? It's, I don't know, maybe I put it over there. Nobody has a clue. And the thing is that defeats the entire purpose. The purpose is that you should automatically, if something happens, you should automatically say, here's my plan.
yep,
What should I do? Now, if you are not conditioned for that, when something bad happens, the plan will be the last thing on your mind. You'll be so busy, you won't know what to do. You haven't conditioned yourself to go to the plan. That plan is going to stay in that hidden drawer that you put it in. And when you need to find it, you're not going to find it. That's always how it works. So always be reviewing your plans on a cadence. Make sure your entire team reviews them. And there are certain people that are very important to the plan and certain people on a lower tier. So make sure that the topmost people who are critical to the plan, they review it, they
right,
know it in and out. It's almost like
right,
a fire drill. You need to know what to do. Don't
yep,
use that elevator when there's a fire,
right,
right? so so that's the thing. Always be reviewing your plans, and there's a lot of companies that don't do that. A lot of companies don't even have plans. So if you have a plan, you're already ahead of the curve.
you're ahead of the
Now it's just a
curve.
matter of building that cadence.
Yeah,
You're on the freeway, so
yeah,
you're really ahead of most other small businesses out there. So keep that in mind. Keep your plans up to date. Keep reviewing them. Make sure your team's on board with it. And I know we're gonna get through these times. I mean, yeah, the hacker activity is kind of high. There's issues happening. There's attacks gonna. We're seeing some different anomalies, and we're gonna keep
yeah,
seeing them. But the good thing is that we are prepared. Most MSPs out there hopefully are prepared, so their customers will be prepared,
yeah,
and they have the tool stack already mature enough to where you're not going to get caught off guard.
yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, and trust me when I say this, I don't say this as a doom and gloom type of thing. That's not my nature. But I was just reading a deem that cases are starting to skyrocket again in China and now in Europe, and with everything going on, these become prime opportunities for the bad guys, the hackers, to say, okay, this is happening. They're probably going to be caught with their pants down. Let's hit them hard, and so it's just one of those things to think about when, especially your business is quote unquote your baby. Don't you want to secure your baby? I mean, there's really no way to say it. You want to make sure it's secure.
Yeah, and it's like it's like having it's like this one the three machine example I gave you that was trying to load malicious scripts. We don't know how long these
I've been sitting there.
processes have been sitting there. They've
Yep.
been dormant. We don't
Yep.
know who's behind it. They've been sitting
Yep.
there dormant for this time. I mean, why now? And
Yeah.
these are some of the things there are things out there that we don't even know about that are sitting dormant, that soon as the attackers deem it necessary, they will activate that command and control center,
Yeah.
and these machines will become alive. They will get their commands from the core, and they will start doing things that the bad guys want to do.
Well,
And
it's like what happened, and not to name any names as far as the company is concerned, but there's a company that this happened to where um, they we don't know. And just to give you a little bit of background, they got hit for a significant amount of money. We don't know how long the bad guy had been sitting there waiting on them, and it's one of those things where Nadeem says, hey, you should do ... They don't do it. And then this happens. But to their point, to Nadeem's point, we have no clue how long they were sitting there waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. And when that perfect opportunity came, they struck, and man, they struck hard, and unfortunately for them, they weren't able to get their money back, as a result of that. It was a loss. So, just to piggyback off what Nadeem was saying, there's no telling.
Right. Yeah. It's it's just one of those things where we say this so often that it almost seems like we're just saying it to be saying it.
Right. That's right.
But the reason we say it is because we see it every day.
Yep.
It's almost like that murder investigator who always thinks, that somebody's going to get murdered because he sees what it's like in the world out there.
Yeah.
And when you are exposed to that on a day in and day out basis, you want to make sure that not only are you protected, but everybody around you is protected.
Yeah.
So it's not we're not saying it just to be saying it. These anomalies that we're finding, these upticks in breaches that we're finding, in attempts to break in that we're seeing. It was just yesterday that I advised one of the customers, their IT guys, to make some changes to their network, which was going to cause a little bit of a hassle for their users. Right? It was inconvenient because they'll have to go through an extra step to connect. But it's like, in this day and age, you cannot have machines sitting on the public internet. It's like, what are you even thinking? You can't be doing that, especially if you're in IT. If you're an IT admin and your customers' machines are sitting out on the public internet, unacceptable.
Yeah. This type of stuff is what we're going to be talking about next week on the 25th. If you haven't registered, Nadeem is really going to be talking about the business side of it, but quite honestly, this affects the business side of it. But he's going to be talking to CEOs out there, business owners out there. If you're listening to this, you want to sign up for this. Nadeem is going to make a time for question and answers. So you might have something at the top of mind that you want, answers to. And like Nadeem says, if he doesn't know the answer right then, he'll find an answer for you one way or another. But you definitely want to sign up, register with us, and get in and just hear some of these things that'll help you as far as your day-to-day operations, and more importantly, your bottom line.
Yeah, not only that, but you want to know what your competitors are doing. So we're gonna have some insight into what the trends are, so you know what your competitors are doing and you can make the right decision. And also, we're going to have a special guest. I'm not going to say anything, give any more information now, but we're going to have a special guest in this CEO only webinar this time. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't registered already, shoot an email to mac@PCSN.net or call in to Mac, and I'll put the email down in the bottom over here as well during editing. And everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you. Have a good one.